Ah, bienvenue, pardon, c'était... Le son était bien. Ah, on est là encore à le perspective académique. Et c'est génial, on est à la Louvre, on a des storytellers qui vont venir. Et on a des histoires à dire. D'accord, on emmène Joshi et Mad Magical. Et on va avoir les histoires aujourd'hui. Et la musique, c'est fantastique. Mes amis, bienvenue. Comment ça va? Ça va bien?
How do you say Bob's Burgers in French?
Bob's Burgers.
I don't know if I believe
Exactement comme ça. D'accord, mes amis, d'accord. Donc, on avait un match. On avait deux équipes. Donc,
Okay.
Joshi,
It's me.
Yeah.
je vais te donner Team Liquid Academy tout à l'heure. Mais Mad Magical, on va commencer. We are going to start with you,
Oh,
Mad
okay, we're starting
Magical.
with me.
And we're going to cover C9 Academy.
Okay.
Donc, mon storyteller friend, can you do this? Can you tell this story? We will see. So we will
I hope so.
start.
I mean, I know Josh.
We will find
Josh
out.
definitely beat
We
you
will
last
find
time.
out very quick. I can promise you that.
Yeah.
D'accord. Commence ton histoire.
There we go. All right. So let's see. I'm not going to be as good as Josh is because I already know Josh is going to be able to get the limericks going on. But here, we see Malice sees a nice juicy target in the top lane. I should do it in the
Le
more soft-
Malice.
more soft. Bradley's low. Malice is like, tasty. And he just goes and he takes a bite out of him, but it wasn't quite enough. Darshan was also hungry. He flashed forward and killed him because Malice was able to help him out. Then later on, Malice again finds another target. This
Oh,
time,
le malaise.
Yawn. The Yawn target, making sure he could take down the carry for Team Liquid. And with no Jinx, there's no win for poor Team.
Ah, le Jinx. Ah, c'est fini.
All right, is there another one? Oh, here we go. All right, and then this last one. There's a lot of X's. I like the X's. Just see,
Ils sont morts, mes amis. Ils sont morts.
It's tic-tac-toe.
They are dead.
yeah, but look at how far back Malice is during this fight. But it didn't matter because all they needed was copy to make sure they couldn't go that way. They couldn't retreat, so they had to fight around this. And so Malice can just come in again, get more kills, and then after this fight, he gets the full stacks of Magites. It's GG right there, right? Right?
25 stacks. Les pages de le magique. Ah, c'est génial. Merci, mon ami Magical. C'était comme ci, comme ça. Ça va. On va reprocher
Okay,
ça, on va
okay.
communiquer et on va refaire un tout petit peu. Donc, Joshi.
Okay,
Joshi.
that's me.
Team Liquid. C'était pas bien. Et you are going to tell the story of Team Liquid Academy.
Okay.
Okay?
All right.
Okay. We start.
Okay. Now, this is a story all about how Team Liquid got turned upside down. So I'd like to take a minute, just sit right there. I'll tell you how they got trounced in this game that we called fair.
Oh!
Red buff
Ça, c'était
quadrant,
Will Smith.
born and raised, Malice invaded and spent most of his days chilling out, maxing, stealing all buffs, and shooting some people outside of the school. When a couple of fights,
Ça, c'est
Team
du vrai
Liquid was
art.
split, and were able to create opportunities to shoot it. There with all the guns that they had at their disposal, we saw that Cloud9 ended in the garbage disposal.
C'était Yann et Emily.
Okay,
Alright.
I'm impressed. I'm impressed. You're not done, though.
Eh oui, ben on est en France. We are in France, my friend. We
Okay.
have art.
Alright, so they whistled for a cab, and when it came near, Jan had some trouble actually killing his fear. Darshan was flashing forward, and he was able to find the kill, and after that, Team Liquid had no will. There we go.
Ah, mon ami, il a essayé et il a succès. Ah, ça c'est bien. Merci, Joshi. Ben, ça, c'était des histoires de le perspective académique. Et pour aller, merci, Joshi Magical. Je dois aller parce que on va fermer bientôt. C'est la même chose. Merci encore. Bye bye.
Bye-bye. Oh
Bye-bye,
man.
French man.
I told him last time that I would rap for him, so hopefully hopefully we had an opportunity to do that well enough.
I think you did. I think you did.
I rhymed the same word with itself a couple of times, but hey, that's okay.
Hey, look.
That's what we call content.
Yeah, I was gonna say, look. I don't think anyone's gonna hold you too much against that because you did that on the spot. So that was impressive.
There we go. Someday we'll learn how to freestyle so we can do the whole thing just ready to go. We'll just need to drop a beat and it'll be.
We'll have to get Rafa and Cubby on that. Teach us a little bit of how to be able to freestyle. But you know, I mean, looking at that game, it was back and forth for a bit there. There were definitely some angles where Team Liquid looked like they might be able to come back into the game. Cloud9 realized that themselves and are like, oh, we just kill Yon and we win.
Yeah. And I think what the biggest thing that I want to see looking at the second half of this series is, I talk about it a lot, you really need primary engage in order to make these fights happen when you want them to. You were relying on Volibear and Set just running at the other team in order to make any of these fights happen on your terms. And, you know, that's not the worst thing ever, but it's a situation where Cloud9 aren't looking to just run at you anyway. They have a Sign who can solo frontline against your entire team by himself. He just has a Frozen Heart.
Yeah, it was just pretty much all that really they needed was just to have the Darshan, Sion stand in front of everybody. But I hear that we have our lovely host of Mizzell ready to bring us back in and help us break down this game and what we might be able to expect going into Game 2. Hello.
Hi, Lennon.
Hi, friends.
How's it going?
I'm back.
Welcome back.
It was a quick break. Just, you know, had to take care of some stuff. I was on the edge of my seat.
Oh, yeah. It was good.
Like, I was so excited to see Malice being able to pull off those crazy ganks. Like, you just see the mind working in those moments. And on the other side, it's Armeo, it's the team, it's TL, just like, all right, we got to put some Flexi Seal there. We got to put some Flexi Seal there. Oh my God, there's somebody in the basement. We got to stop that. And like, it's trying to put out fires that they were unsuccessful at, but you could see both sides trying to achieve their original goal.
And I bet it was even more exciting to watch when he had some pancakes, wasn't it, Mizzell?
It was. Those pancakes were delicious. Shout out to my girlfriend. Because definitely need some energy on a long day like today.
I want pancakes.
But that means, for me, like, being a little bit serious, going into Game 2 for Team Liquid Academy, do you just throw all the bans at the table? Like, what do you... like, the Evelyn obviously was really rough to deal with. You didn't really find a situation that felt comfortable for you. So how do you approach the second draft?
I think that, honestly, you ban out Malice. I think you put everything into banning him out. We've seen the strategy against Cloud9 back when they had the sub roster with Ketong. Everyone just focused on banning out as many champions from Ketong as humanly possible, and it, you know, worked it worked all right, but it was a strategy to try to put a player off their game onto something not as comfortable. I think that's honestly what you just have to do here. You have to go, okay, Malice, you want to be able to pick this Evelyn and Karthus so early into the draft? We're going to take that away. Then we can see the Hecarim and the Udyr maybe come back, and those are champions that we've seen played from Malice. They didn't really have that standout performance in the first days when they were played, but with more practice, getting used to the team more, as we've seen more scrims from them be able to work out, they probably are actually going to be able to have a better strategy around those picks, but it's just not as successful as we've already seen from Karthus and Evelyn.
I found something you guys talked about so interesting in the cast, and the fact that, like, Cloud9 very reliably found a composition that they can pull apart Team Liquid. And you saw that being attempted the entire time, right? Every single fight, it was how many different angles can we approach this fight in? How many different flanks can we get off? How can we get Malice onto a carry? And coming into the second game for Team Liquid, like, if C9 are going to go for that, you have to match it because it was so dangerous. You were seeing CS discrepancies, thousands of gold differences between the carries. It was insanity.
Yeah, it's really impressive, like, how Cloud9 were able to come back and understand their compositions, right? Before we saw them last week, they had no time to practice together. That was the first time they'd ever played as 5. Now, you know, we've had most of a week for them to have some opportunities to get some scrims, and they understand how to play with each other a little bit better, and it looks like comms are going much better as well. Now, the big thing they have to do is recognize that this playstyle is tough, right? It's not something that a lot of their players are used to playing, and you know, as we see them get better at it, they're going to be making fewer of the mistakes that we saw, right? We saw a couple of times where they were looking to get things set up, and Team Liquid were the first ones to pull the trigger.
Yep. Well, I do get in my ear. We are ready for the second draft of this series. So, guys, take it away.
Thank you so much, Mizzell. It's always good having you. We'll have you back after this one for a nice interview, but getting ready for our second game of our second series for day 1 of Super Week. Cloud9 looking really good in that first game. It was a nice performance to see from them, but it was well fought by Team Liquid. So now that they're swapping up sides, I'm curious to see the strategy changes that can come in from Team Liquid to maybe make it so that they're not going to be picked apart quite like they were in that previous game.
Well, the one thing that is going to be changing things up a little bit is they are going to be swapping sides of the map. Team Liquid will be on blue side and Cloud9 on red side. So at the very least, that should be freeing up the Caitlyn and the Zeri bans from Team Liquid, where they will no longer have to go for those, and instead Cloud9 will have to be paying a bit more attention to that. So, you know, it could be an opportunity for them to just start banning out Malice champions like you were calling out. You know, we gotta make sure that the Karthus is off the table, and I like the Evelynn and Hecarim bans a little bit more than I like the Udyr ban, as you were previously kind of talking about.
Yeah.
Just because Udyr is a bit more of a known quantity, is less likely to kind of run over a game in a lot of ways, and Team Liquid choosing to continue banning the Caitlyn this time around, not wanting to allow Cloud9 to pick that up, and it says to me that Yan doesn't really play it. It hasn't really been popping up in their scrims, because if you could play it, you should probably be picking it.
Exactly, especially on blue side. So the fact they banned that, like you said, shows that they just don't have the practice on it, but also that they just don't want to give it up because maybe they want to grab that Jinx again. Gon was doing a great job in the previous game, but it was the Evelynn that was able to really pick him apart and flank him, make it difficult for him to have a front-to-back team fight. But being on blue side, they have the liberty to grab that first.
And that's exactly what they're going to be doing. Cloud9 now have to answer the question. We saw very early last time what kind of comp they were going to be going for, because Malice picked Evelynn in their second round of picks. So I would not be surprised if we saw something very similar coming through here. Pick a powerful AD carry and whatever jungler it is that Malice wants to play. Going back to the comfort that he was saying they were relying on in their first week, you know, 1 week of scrims is not nothing, but it's not a whole lot more than that, right? You still need to be playing stuff that everybody feels comfortable playing.
There it is. Hecarim locked in for Cloud9. You kind of wanted to see the ban towards that Hecarim and let the Udyr go through. The Cloud9 pretty much saying, you know what, it wasn't banned, we can take this. It goes in that style that you were really wanting to see from Cloud9, drafting themselves the AD carry to match the Jinx on the other side, but also getting this early jungle pick, so that way they don't have to worry about it. Fine, it would be highly unlikely to see it taken away, but maybe possibly banned out later.
Yeah, and Hecarim is one of those champions that can really punish very heavily. Ooh, a lot of teams that are typically very controlled, like I think of as Armeo as a player, right? Malice can now run around the map faster than Armeo can respond. He can run top lane, and if Armeo is trying to match that, by the time Malice reaches the mid lane, Armeo will not be able to get there in time, and so it creates a lot of imbalances on the map very naturally because of how quickly this champion moves around. But the Kindred coming through is not necessarily going to be looking to counter gank a whole lot. He's going to be instead going to be taking his opportunity to try and outfarm Malice and fight fire with fire. So Team Liquid ready for a lot of different styles.
Right, that's the interesting thing here. It's pretty much just laying down the gauntlet against Malice and saying, fine, you want to farm it up? So do I. Now you're forced to play proactively early, because Kindred eventually is just going to become a problem that you have to contend against, and it's going to be difficult to actually lock that champion down. But on the flip side, we are seeing that the supports are matched, the jungles are matched, the AD carries are matched by both teams, pretty much in the exact same spots as well when they came to drafting. So we can kind of get a good identity for both these teams and what they're looking to accomplish.
Yeah. I honestly, the thing that I really like about the Hecarim and why I was kind of calling it out at the beginning was this champion is a bit more adaptable than a lot of the other farming junglers that we know Malice likes to play. Malice, or Hecarim, can farm extremely well, but it can also gank, right? It's one of these champions that starting at level 3 starts to become a threat just because of the unique angles that it can take on the map. So Cloud9, I still feel like they are coming into this with a little bit of an advantage in the draft, and we'll see what Team Liquid can do to try and upset that. One of the natural ways that you can make Kindred look really good is you pick a lot of crowd control in your lanes in order to get things set up. Now, we did see Soligo play as Ahri earlier and didn't have a whole lot of impact on the game. Now it's going to be Copy's turn, and we know this champion, at least in solo queue, has been performing very well.
And I actually am really interested with this pick, the pick potential that you have, the charm to try to deny Kindred from being able to just utilize Lamb's Respite, as well as being essentially what Malice was last game, someone that can flank, look for these plays, try to catch Yan out of position, utilizing those charms at every stage of the game. It's matched up by an Azir coming in from Hayri.
Okay, this is a lot more standard coming through from the side of Team Liquid, but they don't have a ton of proactive crowd control. You have the CC in the bottom lane from Rhino, and you have the CC in the top lane coming in from Bradley. But in the mid lane, it's not the easiest thing in the world for Harry and Armeo to lock down an individual member, and not necessarily the most damage for them to play with. Instead, just creating a very, very strong backline once again, looking to try and withstand the engage coming in from Malice, and Cloud9, not necessarily going to be the easiest thing to do this. I'm going to be straight up, Sorry, that's the first time I've ever done that. Magical. I hate this counter pick for coming in for Darshan.
Really?
This matchup as a Gnar player, this is nearly an unwinnable matchup for the Gnar. It is so difficult to actually win this because you not only have to attack Bradley's HP bar, you also have to attack his mana bar, and as soon as Bradley gets the tier, it's almost impossible to push this guy out of lane. I was watching during the Champions Cube, I don't remember who it was, but we saw this matchup, and I think it was like Lorlo versus Eclipse or something. The Gnar was 4-1 up against a 1-3 Gragas, and the Gragas wins, right? Like, Gnar does not win this matchup. This is Darshan saying to Bradley, I think I'm better than you, and I don't think there's anything that you can do about it. So, I mean, Darshan's good.
I postulate this to you, that it's not even about the counter pick.
Okay.
I'm looking at how both Gragas and Gnar function with Lambs or Spite on the other side, trying to get people off of the zone and try to make sure this Kindred cannot actually keep people alive for long periods of time.
I can buy that. Honestly, it is something that Gnar is good for, but it is a lot harder to do with Gnar, and I feel like there are other ways that you can, win these fights and just disengage from them more effectively. But that is a good point. That is one reason to pick the Gnar in this spot. You do have to be careful about it on where you're actually going to be throwing people. So we'll see how well they can play it, and if Darshan can overcome the natural deficit that he's kind of put himself into in actually playing out this lane, because it is a very tough spot where we saw that Darshan got the better of Bradley in game 1, but this time it's not a free matchup like Sion was into Jace.
No, it's going to take a lot more of that skill to try to really flex that in this lane if you want to actually be able to get the lead over someone like Bradley. I'm really curious to see how that's going to play, if Darshan is going to really be able to flex that mic, because this is a good test for Bradley.
Yes.
It's like, we've been hyping up this player, the swap from mid lane to top lane. Darshan is, I think, the bar. If you can beat Darshan, you have a good argument for why you deserve to get into LCS. But Darshan is incredibly difficult to actually beat in the lane.
And, excuse me. And I think both these players are people that, even if you don't watch Academy and just watch LCS, these are players that people are starting to kind of know, right? When Darshan had some time to play in Lock, and when Bradley had some time to play in Lock, and both of them looked really darn good. And I had a conversation again with Tim about, these players are not mechanically typically that much worse than a lot of the LCS players. The big difference comes into their actual team play. And Darshan and Bradley, now as they come in, we know Darshan is a very strong laner and plays for his levels 1, 2, and 3 a lot more effectively than most other people at this level. Question is going to be, is that going to be enough up here against Bradley, who also had a very impressive performance on the LCS stage?
I do also want to bring this up. Darshan has played Gnar almost...
a lot.
Yeah, almost 20 games more than the second most champion in his entire career. 52 games, 35-17 on the champion. That is a 67.3% win rate on Gnar.
It's pretty good. I mean, Hanser was doing the same thing last year, right?
Yep.
When he was playing for TSM, where even when this champion wasn't considered particularly good, he was still playing it anyway. Gnar is also my most played.
Yes, I know.
And we'll see. I absolutely hate playing this matchup. It's not impossible to win, and it says to me that we're going to get a lot of fireworks potentially from Malice. But we also called that out earlier. We were expecting to see a lot of attention paid from Tomio towards Surtees Jace, and that didn't happen either, and it's part of why the Jace ended up falling really far behind.
I need to see if Malice is going to be able to do that as well, but we also know that probably for the first few levels, there's going to be hard farming. Try to clear out everything as the Sacrum, like he did last week when he played the champion. Not wanting to really look for these ganks, allowing the strength of the players on Cloud9 to get their own leads over someone like Bradley, over someone like Hayri or Copy. Bot lane 2, King and Isles playing a little bit more of a defensive style in the Felios Braum, trying to make sure that both Yawn and Rhino aren't going to be able to find these early fights in lane.
Yeah. I just want to highlight this one last thing. Look at the fact that like Darshan and Bradley traded at level 1 pretty heavily, and Bradley is now at full HP and basically full mana, right? This is why this matchup is so incredibly difficult. But now that we've said that, and we'll check back in a couple of minutes, we got to see where the junglers are going. Both of them full clearing their top side of the map and now moving towards the bottom side. And again, as you called out earlier, Armeo can also look to farm really, really heavily here and potentially match Malice 1-for-1 in a lot of the plays that they're going to be going for. But the big thing is Malice can gank earlier and gank more effectively in the first couple of levels.
But even with that, I want to see if Team Liquid are going to try to shove out these waves, because with Armeo on the bot side of the map, Malice here too, they're both going to try to contest the same Scuttle Crab, and there's always that 50-50 for the first Scuttle. What one gets the mark for Kindred? You want to make sure you're getting that mark immediately for Armeo, because the sooner you can get to the 4 stacks on Kindred, they're going to be so much more powerful when it comes to actually fighting it out.
Armeo is here immediately, potentially looking for an opportunity, and he loses the flip. It's going to be on the opposite side, but you're already seeing the members of Team Liquid are starting to move forward. Malice already shifting towards the top half.
Nice dodge there from Harry, making sure not to eat that charm. But the fact that even with the dodge coming in from Copy, Malice was able to path all the way there quickly enough that Armeo can't really contest this. Doesn't even want to try, but that will be the stack denied to Armeo.
So it will just be, even pushing out in the jungle farming, right? They're both going to get the same number of camps. They're both going to be clearing at about the same speed, as Armeo ends up losing a bit of time in order to try and see if he can try and contest the top side Scuttle Crab, but nothing between these two teams yet breaking just quite yet. Oh, the last couple of ticks, right? You just can't stop it back at that point. Yep. Team Liquid going to be pretty happy with their position thus far on the map, but watch for Malice looking for plays.
Ooh, that was a nice max range stun there. On to Bradley coming in from Darshan. But even with that, Bradley is fine. He's just going to be able to heal up. Got those biscuits in his inventory. All he has to do is pop some of those, and he'll be perfectly fine. Darshan just is struggling. It's like you said, you have to work with the health and the mana bar if you actually want to be able to deny this Gragas in lane.
So we'll see how effectively he is going to be able to do that. It is an opportunity for Bradley, if he feels comfortable on this champion, that he can start looking for solo kills in the next couple of levels. But with the amount of HP that he's lost, it's going to be a little bit more difficult for him to always go for that. And instead, just going to be allowing the junglers to continue farming. And they are doing the exact same route top to bottom as they did last time. But remember, Malice full cleared his own jungle before he went for the first Scuttle Crab, meaning that Armeo, if they stay on the same kind of pace for the rest of the game, is going to be ever so slightly behind just the amount of tempo that Malice has already built, because he is the farmer.
Exactly, and that's where we need to see Team Liquid try to see if they can help out Armeo get these stacks. That's the big thing that we'll keep going back to with looking at Kindred. Everyone's always got to think about how can you get these stacks onto your Kindred early into the game. The fact that they lost the coin flip there for Armeo, now they have to go back to the drawing board. What else can they do to make sure they're getting Armeo set up?
Well, it's not anything around this dragon, it looks like, because Cloud9 is already in position. Armeo gonna be clearing out a ward, or trying to. Gotta dodge a charm.
Oh, charm connects from Copy, getting a lot of damage on a poor Armeo there. Even top lane, look at Darshan bullying around Bradley. Got the level lead over him. It makes it so that across the board, Cloud9 are winning out in every single lane.
Yeah. Well, okay. Darshan making me eat my words a bit. This matchup is pretty tough, but he is getting the better of it, right? He is beating out Bradley. A bit more familiarity with the lane, a bit more familiarity with the champions is going to result in him coming out with about a wave of advantage, even while Bradley starts with the tier. So, small lead there coming in for Cloud9, but at the same time, this Ahri Copy is having a tough time in the mid lane. We haven't checked in on his lane just quite yet, but he's down quite a bit based on the fact that Harry has been starting with the teleport and is able to join back up with the team a little bit faster. So the game remaining relatively even, and Malice not able to find an advantage just quite yet over Armeo, and this might be the answer that a lot of teams need to find, is just, hey, I can do that too.
Exactly. Just deny Copy from being able to do anything here. Harry shoving in the wave again towards Copy, who, as you had called out, he went for the Ignite. He was looking for a play like this. Try to see if he can fight against someone like Harry and then rotate around the map, as we've seen Copy do in the past. Here, it's just difficult. Harry's making sure that he's chunking them out as many times as humanly possible. He went with Corrupting Pots and the Biscuits, and even with those, struggling to really contend against Harry, who, with the TP, was able to go back and get Merc Treads immediately, just to deny Copy being able to bully him back.
Yeah, and don't forget the Merc Treads coming through, right? The extra reduction of damage coming out from Copy, as well as the Tenacity, reducing the duration of the charm, makes it a lot harder for Ahri to do anything in this mid lane. For a long time, it was the go-to build up against things like LeBlanc, and up against Ahri, which does something very similar, makes a lot of sense. So, the rest of the map just kind of chilling. Very small gold lead coming out for Team Liquid, effectively nothing. And Armeo still, I think he's still looking for his first mark, simply because he hasn't been able to go for anything. And this is also going to be a crucial difference, right? Armeo is going to be giving this over to Harry, and I think Malice is probably going to take the blue buff for himself when it spawns.
I would expect so as well. Continue to have your Hecarim power farming. Continue to allow him to just be able to deny any stacks that possibly could be picked up by Armeo. Even allowing Malice to just kind of take away those chickens. Smites it down, takes it away. And that gives all the pressure over to Cloud9, even though this bot lane play looks like it could have been a little bit risky for Isles and King. They're able to trade back a good chunk of damage onto Rhino.
Yeah. So, small advantage, once again, getting picked up by Malice. Nowhere near as large as he had in the previous game, but very, very small advantage coming through. And Bradley, now willing to shrug off a lot of the damage Darshan is able to put out. So, I mean, this Gragas matchup is going to be very tough for them to try and navigate. But we haven't seen Malice or Armeo go for a single gank thus far. And instead, because Malice, again, chooses to pick up his own blue buff rather than give it over, going to find another small advantage in exchange for this Scuttle Crab.
I want to see if we actually have Armeo pathing to grab that Gromp stack. Oh, no, it had already been taken by Malice. My bad. That was my bad. I didn't read the map properly. But yeah, that's another stack denied. There's very little Armeo has been able to do against Malice, who's just continuing. Just power farm over and over again, and continuing to play his style of League of Legends.
So where is this game going to break, Magical? Because we were hyping up this team for quite a while. I mean, the first dragon was gone. I'm not convinced that either team is super invested in going for the second dragon, unless one of them is trying to play for stacking a Dragon Soul. But
maybe 17 minutes into the game? I'm gonna just, you know, try to take a stab in the dark. Like 17 minutes, there's gonna be a fight around some sort of objective. I don't know. It's honestly hard because you look at both teams, and you got good scaling options on each of them. But they just kind of want to be able to farm up a bit. Azir, Jinx, they're happy farming up. Indrid, same. Got the tank in the top lane. Gnar, I mean, sure, you'd like to be able to bully around this lane a little bit more, but he's also content in it. Got Malice farming up. Copy on Ahri, eventually just looking to complete that first Mythic, with Aphelios being a similar thing, just a little less range than a Jinx.
Yep. I mean, I think the big thing that we have to know is Malice is going for a different style of build than a lot of the Hekarims we've been seeing, with the Turbo Chem Tank into the Manamune. Instead, he's going directly for the Trinity Force as King, trying to be aggressive, but they spot it out, and I don't think there's a dive here.
No, this is a difficult bot lane to actually dive, though they get a lot of damage onto Rhino there. They actually just kill him immediately. Wait, I gotta eat my words, King.
Wow, just a lot of raw damage coming out from the members of Cloud9. That forces Yon off of the wave entirely, so this is the first place where we're going to see a bit of a break in the game. Going to be another wave crashing, but with people moving back towards the dragon, Yon will be able to recover most of this wave. And Armeo, and it looks like he's going to be trying to steal here. This is a bit bold to actually go for, but it can't hurt to try, I suppose.
Well, let's see how long it takes him to take this dragon. You can see that Rhino is back on the map, trying to path into this. Look at Copy with the farm coming in onto Harry, but it's going to be a Lamb's fight, keeping him alive. Put down the grenades, but here comes Unstoppable Forces in the backline, picking up the kill onto Harry for King, looking for more. Yon flashed away, but he's now so low, still barely alive. Copy dies, but it's going to be a trade back again onto Rhino. He spawns just to die as Yon. Armeo kiting it back. Nice kite away, coming in from Yon, still alive. But the Root can come in if they have the Graviton, but they don't have the mana coming in from King. There was a dicey fight for both sides, but Cloud9 come out successful.
Yeah, an extra kill going over to Cloud9. Great patience coming through from Malice, and now it looks like they're going to be trying once again to go for this dragon. But Armeo still hovering around. Both jugglers have smites.
I think he just wants to stack, honestly, on that Gromp that spawned back up. They've got the TP coming in from Harry. Cloud9, unfortunately, not able to actually secure this dragon.
Okay, can he do this? Malice, yeah, going to be happy to let him have that jumping over the wall. It's not clear that they know that Team Liquid is going for this, so yeah, they're going to be putting a stop to the dragon stacking from Cloud9, and we will see Armeo, I mean, remaining just alongside Malice in terms of the amount of farming he's actually been able to do. He's, you know, about half a camp behind in terms of actually running around the map, but the big thing is that we haven't necessarily seen this game break open just quite. It is still super even, and the big difference right now is, to me, largely the fact that these kills have come through, and also Darshan and Bradley. Oh, this might be an opportunity? No.
No, not going to be the opportunity. Bot lane, you keep seeing these plays, these roots from King, the amount of damage he's able to put onto Yon here. He's 3-0. He's got that Gale Force now completed with Berserker's Greaves. King is set up for success, and we've seen this a couple times out of Cloud9. When they're able to get these early leads on a King, they're able to do a lot with it.
Yeah. I mean, King's a very strong player. He's definitely going to be playing this entire spring split with the idea that he is trying to get back into everything. Remember, he's not playing scrims with this team. It's Sven who's doing it as they try and find their way into Isles.
Oh, Isles, though, taking a lot of damage. Armeo on the other side, looking for King, looking to battle it out so they can sacrifice the kill. They got the shutdown for Armeo. Isles going to be the next target, and I think they want to gift that to either Armeo or Harry. It's going to be Harry, who takes himself his first kill of the game.
Okay, there you go. Going to be finding the 2v2 with a little bit of help. Armeo, I mean, the amount of raw burst damage that you're able to do with a Kindred is ridiculous, but it also shows exactly where he is, and this is going to be the first farming advantage that Malice gets. So take a look at the replay again. I mean, it's mostly just Armeo knowing that there are no summoners available for King and just kills him. And I'm fascinated by how long they were willing to wait for this kill to go forward. They wanted to make sure they gave it over to Harry, and maybe Armeo was able to pick up a stack during that last fight, because I don't think he's gotten any from farming so far.
I would like to check it out if we can. Observers, if you can hover over Armeo and see how many stacks he has.
Leche.
That would be nice to see. We got two stacks. 2 stacks. Hey, you know what? Halfway there to be able to get the 4.
Yeah, hashtag Leche fandom once again. Big shout-outs to the observers in production, as always, in their ability to help us help you understand the video game. Armeo going to be grabbing another objective for their team, and also going to be grabbing the crab, which I think will give them their 3rd stack of the game, which means that we are going to be seeing a game that is once again very even, and this is why this was the litmus test for Cloud9 at the beginning of the day. We were saying this is where we're going to see if these two teams are going to be able to play against each other. Is Cloud9 going to have another blowout day, or are they going to be tested? And so far, this is way closer than anything we've seen from Cloud9.
Yeah, Game 1 was pretty close. It was a lot of gold placed into Malice in that one. This time, even though it is still close, it's more gold placed into the bot lane, into King. That bot lane play, though, gave over a lot of momentum back to Team Liquid. You can see with Armeo sitting 2-0 and 1 Kraken Slayer already completed out of this Kindred. It's going to get scary, especially as we continue to see more of these stacks picked up by the jungler.
Yeah. I mean, the extra range will always be nice, but the amount of damage is basically going to be the same for the most part of the game. Now, the thing that I want to pay attention to, again, I brought attention to it earlier, but I didn't really say why it mattered. Malice going with the Trinity Force build does a lot of burst damage, but he is going to be a lot squishier with this build than the Turbo Chem Tank build. So he does a lot of upfront damage, but is not necessarily going to be able to survive. And I imagine these 2 cloth armors that he's just picked up probably going to be going towards a Frozen Heart once again, because there's a lot of auto attackers coming through. You have Armeo, you have Yon, who are the obvious people who are going to be stopped by this, but even Harry on the Azir goes for these auto attacks, and if Malice can get in range and slow down his attack speed, the armor does nothing for him, but the attack speed reduction does quite a bit.
Right, and that's going to be the big thing. That's why it was such a good item last time when Darshan built it, this time if Malice builds it as well. But until then, going to be some time until you can deny that from Armeo, and this is why you can see Team Liquid want to punish them before these items get completed. The hook went wide out of Rhino, so Cloud9 can back off.
Okay, and the turret ends up staying alive with a sliver of HP. There is still local gold for Cloud9 to try and pick up later on, and I wonder if that's actually something that factored into Team Liquid's decision-making, but Malice finding Bradley a bit.
Yeah, or was it Bradley finding them? Nice explosive cast onto Isles, trying to jump back. Nice. Body blocked by Bradley that entire time. Rocket going to chip at the members of Cloud9. forcing them back towards the turret. We've got 12 seconds until the next dragon spawns up into this game. Cloud9 are positioning themselves as though they want to contest.
Yeah, I really like the presence of mind coming in from Bradley, just saying like, yeah, I know that your only way out of this is to go for a flash, which you need to get close to the wall, or using the W top over and just waiting until the last second to make sure the distance remains at its maximum. So, Armeo now going to be hitting the dragon by himself, but Darshan has an entire bar.
Does, and he's about to go Mega. Had hit that Bonerang, so he
15
will
seconds.
be Mega. Gotta be careful inside this pit. That's why Team Liquid are just waiting it out. It's got only half of its timer still.
7
That's
seconds.
still long enough time for Darshan to be able to engage this fight. Looking for Bradley. He's able to get the flash away.
3.
But here comes the engage.
Oh!
And it's going to be the Wombo combo. It's not going to be enough just yet. Yon's still alive on the other side. They've got the kill, and they got a sack for Armeo. But they're going to be able to pick up the kill on the other side, coming in from Copy, who tries to re-engage onto Armeo inside the pit. Jumping over the wall, getting a little bit of distance coming in from Malice. But Rhino, he has to flash, and he still dies to the double kill. Copy, who follows up, gets Lamb's Respite. He wants more. He's just waiting it out, waiting to see if he can get it. As Isles went back in, flashed himself to pick up the kill. The Dragon also for Cloud9.
Crazy timing window coming in from Cloud9. They just had the last couple of seconds left for them to get anything done with that Gnar bar. Look at how little of a bar Darshan has at the end of this when he goes in for the fight, and it all culminates at the same time where they scatter Team Liquid. Team Liquid just needed to back away for like one more second, and this play was not possible from Cloud9, but Cloud9 again using a beautiful window in order to pick this up, and Armeo does his best to stay alive but is not able to do it. A huge explosion coming from Bradley, or from Team Liquid right when you called it out.
As we go back to live, Copy was looking like he was in a little bit of trouble. Going to be the belly flop that gets the nice stun on a Copy alley-oop right to Rhino, and it should be an easy kill as a body block shut down for Bradley. Top lane, there's another play.
Harry?
There's a lot of chaos going on. Harry gets picked by Darshan. Armeo now, who tried to defend his top lane, had to flash away from this fight because he's so worried about Darshan and Malice.
Yeah, it didn't look like Harry was paying attention to what his champion was doing. He just took a lot of damage all out of nowhere from Darshan, and now Team Liquid absolutely on the back foot. And remember, we asked earlier, like, when is it going to happen? You said 17 minutes around some objective fight, and it was, like, right on, Magical. You said,
Nostradamus,
and it came
just call
around.
me the prophet.
There you go. Well, Magical, looking at this one, when is our next fight going to be?
Okay. Let's see. I'm going to go with 22.5 minutes.
Oh, even more specific.
Yeah,
okay.
I'm going to go a little bit more specific on this one because that's also when the dragon is going to spawn.
Reasonable, reasonable.
Actually,
Well,
it's going to be a
we'll
little bit before the dragon spawn, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, you know, I understand. I respect the ability to go for it and use the context clues. So, with that in mind, Magical, at 22.5 minutes, we'll have to see which of these teams is still stronger. Because even though the game broke for the first time, Cloud9 are not that far ahead in terms of gold. They only have the one extra dragon, and there's still plenty of tools available. Team Liquid made a very identifiable mistake. We needed to wait 1, maybe 2 more seconds to fight before Darshan's Mega Gnar ran out. And then you have a 30-second window before Darshan can get back into Mega again. So Team Liquid, once they know that, once they recognize that, as long as somebody calls that out, it's a very easy mistake for them to fix.
That's also where we got to praise Cloud9. Realizing that they only had that small window on the rage bar to be able to get the engage coming in from Darshan, and he pulled the trigger immediately when he noticed that the players were just a little too far out and he still had a couple seconds left. But with Cloud9 now posturing, just try to see what they can gather over Team Liquid, it's all going to be the back and forth. We shouldn't expect to see too much out of either team unless someone is making a sin and stepping way too far out. Like right here, this could be a attempted play. Malice found Rhino, found Bradley, trying to recall in a greedy spot. They're going to get knocked up into the air, and that's the onslaught of shadows. Not going to be able to get the charge, but they're going to be able to get the root into the backline on Yon, who's still alive. And Lamb's Respite barely saves his life as they kick out Copy too. Rocket going to be able to get the excited going in for Jinx, but got to be careful. Darshan's about to go Mega. Getting a lot of damage coming in onto King, but he's still alive as Malice is into the pit with a double kill for Darshan. The Snipe 2 comes in onto Hayri.
Jan plays that so well, but the position was so rough that it doesn't matter. And now Cloud9 going to be starting up the Baron. What does Jan try and do at this point? He can't really come over and contest. He can't really do anything about the Hecarim, so he's going to be trying to push this wave in and maybe try and take a turret in response for the Baron. But that's the second time. This time a little bit off, Magical. You're at least a whole minute too late from what actually happens in the game. But still, Jan going to be trading back this time and going to be taking away some of Malice's precious jungle.
Yeah, but it's all just consolation prizes. Because right here, like I said, greedy recalls attempted by Team Liquid, and it was a good read coming in from Cloud9.
Yeah, but I want to praise Jan for this, right? He uses the Gale Force to dodge the charm. He instantly cleanses the Ignite, and then instead of auto-attacking, he makes sure that he can move over to get into the Lamb's Respite before throwing out the ultimate, so he was never at risk of dying, and instead using his whole health bar, using all of the resources at his disposal in order to get as much damage down as possible. Unfortunately, the rest of the team crumbling around him means that he can't carry the fight, but man, did he play it well.
He did, and unfortunately, even if you play it well, it is a team game. You got to have all the pieces working together, and at Cloud9, they've been able to find these fights properly. King sitting 6-1. Darshan 3-1. Malice might be only a 1-0, but he's got 8 assists. He's been impacting a lot of the map so far. That's where Armeo has been struggling. You can even see this in this fight against Darshan, just getting solo killed. 1v2. Darshan might just be able to get 2 kills for free from Team Liquid. Explosive cast to deny Darshan, but he flashed forward, flashed away from Bradley.
Holy cow, man. Darshan just standing and delivering, right? He's got the Warden's Mail once again, building towards a Randuin. It's so difficult for the members of Team Liquid to do anything, and just the damage differential is insane.
Avery doing his damn to try to escape, but look at how easy it's for them to chase down poor Birdman in the back line. And with 2 now dead on the side of Team Liquid, things just got dicey. It just turned upside down here for Team Liquid. It was close for some time, and now this is completely Cloud9's.
I'm super impressed once again by Cloud9's ability to punish Team Liquid being on different places around the map, and just seeing that, Malice sees Harry's Azir underneath his turret and says like, yeah, I can run this guy down. Don't worry about it. I know he's underneath his 2nd tier turret, is almost able to get to his 3rd tier turret. In fact, he dies in line with the inhibitor turret, and Malice is still able to run him down with the Trinity Force, with the Frozen Heart, exactly as we were expecting. Does so much damage. And now, I mean, Darshan won this last time.
They might have learned their lesson, though. He's not about to go Mega, but he gets a lot of damage onto Bradley all the same. Still trying to see if he can cut it back with the explosive cast coming in to pick up a kill. But it's a trade for that Dragon. 3rd one of the game for Cloud9 while Copy topples the turret.
Okay, but the rest of the map, what do? Malice doesn't have ultimate, so there's no real engaged threat just quite yet. But Copy has his. Watch for a charm.
Looking for the charm, looking for the root on a Rhino as he tries to escape, just cannot do it. Another kill for free for King as Armeo, he's counter jungling and getting some stacks here. He's up to 6, but at what cost is this costing Team Liquid?
Team Liquid just don't feel like they're on the same page. They aren't moving around. We said they needed to be precise last game. It's once again coming to the same position, Magical, and Team Liquid, one of the teams that we were looking at to be very strong, is currently crumbling to the pressure that Cloud9 has been able to put out on the map. And even Copy, who started off this game not having a whole lot of impact, is now starting to step up alongside King, Malice, and Darshan in order to create situations where he can find picks as well. Cloud9 are constantly punishing any overextension Team Liquid are going for.
And for Team Liquid's sake, we gotta see what they're gonna be able to do to answer Cloud9. Seems like, again, it's a rinse and repeat from what happened last game. Team Liquid getting split apart by Cloud9. The dives that can come in from Malice, the dives that can come in from Copy, splitting apart too from Darshan with those ultimates. Team Liquid, I just don't know what they're going to be able to do in this next team fight unless they get the perfect fight front to back.
I mean, they can try. They have the tools now to be the ones that actually start the fight, and that's what they got to do. This is definitely a game where the team that goes forward is the one that wins. However, I think that's going to be really tough for the members of Team Liquid. They haven't been playing with the same kind of confidence as we've been seeing coming out from Cloud9, right? Darshan just like, yeah, I'm going to play the Gnar into the Gragas, and I'm going to beat you. We're seeing Malice constantly going for these dives between turrets. King and Isles have some tools, and Copy just constantly playing forward. Bradley is in what's supposed to be a good matchup, and he's kind of struggling. He doesn't necessarily feel as strong, but he's going to be the one that needs to start making plays. Rhino, the newer addition to Team Liquid, is playing with a lot of these guys who have played together for so long. As the new kid on the block, he's going to need to be able to step up, and so they're putting a lot of pressure on some of their newer members in order to bring Team Liquid back into the fold.
But even though they're putting a lot of that on to the newer players, Armeo, he just died. He just died completely to Copy. How? What?
Oh, well, Leche, you know what to do. Show us what happened. But Team Liquid, they now need to defend this turret. Jan rooted.
Rooted cleanse. Was able to dodge away from the Glacial Fissure. We'll have to look at that replay in just a moment, because right now Jan's taking a lot of damage coming in from King. Wally, open up the base of Team Liquid. You got to mount a defense at some point, but without Armeo, the rocket going wide too, not connecting onto any member of Cloud9. They can just fall back 40 seconds until that Baron spawns.
Yeah, they defend the inhibitor, but the inhibitor turret going down doesn't necessarily give them a whole lot of freedom. Okay, we get to see what happens. Copy just coming over the wall, and yeah, I think he 100 to 0s him through the charm. Yep. Nothing he could have done. Great assassination coming through, and I thought this champion was not supposed to be as good of an assassin, Magical.
I mean, it's thought so too. But Copy right there is showing that he's got that proficiency on this Ahri. And this goes into kind of a style that Copy likes to play. We didn't get to see the roaming, try to impact the side lanes. But we are seeing how he is when it comes to the late game. How he is with these picks, finding targets out of position, and immediately eviscerating them.
Well, Team Liquid now, they are going to be the first ones to show up for the Baron, but Cloud9 don't necessarily need to play for the Baron. Right? Cloud9 are in a spot where they have side lane pressure. Team Liquid are the ones who need to try and manufacture fights, but with so many members backing, what items are they even completing at this point? Because they need to be the ones who are ready to go for a fight, and they also need to be ready for a fight in 1 minute at the upcoming Infernal Soul. So Cloud9 have a lot of freedom and choices that they could be going for. As long as they don't get wiped, they should be happy with almost any outcome over the next 30 seconds.
I don't know if that's going to be likely. Look at the inventories. Just components really picked up on these backs that came in from Team Liquid. You haven't even gotten the Thornmail coming in from Bradley. You look at Yon, the one we've been kind of highlighting this entire time. Only 2 items compared to 4 on the side of King.
I think he's got a third one here, I have to imagine. Yeah, there's the
there it is. I mean,
coming through.
He's able to complete it now, but still, that's a full item behind.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, King quietly coming up and picking up all the kills that he's needed to. A couple of aggressive plays coming through and making him look good, but Team Liquid now are running into a spot. Whoa.
Okay. This is truly a Hail Mary play coming in from Team Liquid. They've got Bradley CP. He's going to be pretty deep back towards his team, though. They got to be careful. They got to find the front-to-back fight. They've got Malice, and they're looking to see if they can get the depth charge lock up onto King, but it's going to be Isles absorbing all that pressure for the team, so King can now call up everyone on Team Liquid with the Fear 2. Armeo, the Lance was right. It was not enough. Double kills in. Make it 3. Make it 4 as Hayri tries to escape from the fight, but he's burning to the Ignite and dies to Copy. Bradley, the last casualty. Clean ace from Cloud9.
That was a 4v5 from Cloud9. Darshan was not participating in that until the very end. This is how much pressure Cloud9 is able to put on the game, and this is an incredibly clean win coming through. Fantastic play coming through from Cloud9. We asked if they were going to be able to show up like they did against Evil Geniuses, and taking a 2-0 over Team Liquid here is a huge vote of confidence for them. I wasn't sure I was on board before, but I have to say, I'm on the Cloud9 train. These guys are looking to sweep everybody in Academy.
And here they might even pad the KDAs on the way out. They die with Isles dying right at the very end of it, but that is another 2-0 sweep. 4 games now. Cloud9 has won in a row. With practice under their belt, they are looking like a far, far better team.
And we'll get to see even more coming out from these guys because they're going to be playing up against Immortals and FlyQuest, 2 teams who have been struggling so far through the recent part of the season. So don't expect this train to stop anytime soon. This might be our first ever 6-0 week here for Academy coming out from Cloud9. Now, Team Liquid, I feel like they got some very clear things that they can go back and look at. There's a lot of opportunities where they had to have a bit more of an impact in a couple of very key small moments where, just like in a lot of other games, you have these critical spots where if you had just played it a little bit better, the game could have shaken in your favor. But for now, the dice are rolling in Cloud9's favor, and they're stacking that deck to make sure that there's no chance for any other team to beat them.
Is it really them rolling the dice when they play really clean League of Legends?
It's like a figure of speech.
I mean, I know, but I'm just saying, like the first game was really close, and the second one was close until a point. Until about 17 minutes into the game, it was kind of close back and forth, and then that one fight, Darshan, his engage with that Meganar was huge for the rest of the team to be able to clean up.
Yeah, that's a big thing. I'm sure you heard me. I was counting, right? 15 seconds, 7 seconds, 2 seconds. And then as soon as I say that, Darshan able to come in and get the fight started, and the rest of the team looked good as well. Now, the one thing I do want to praise Cloud9 for at this game is patience. right? They're not just using their abilities willy-nilly. They're not just throwing them out at the beginning of a team fight. They're waiting for the right time to actually use something in order to get the maximum effect out of it. And Malice in particular, saving his ultimate through a lot of team fights. He's not just throwing the ultimate on top of the Lamb's Respite. He waits for it to disappear to get the fear afterwards to prevent the other team from actually firing back. So great stuff coming out from Cloud9.
And with that, it's another 2-0. They're now 4 games in a row that they have been able to win. There's a lot of League of Legends still for the Super Week left ahead of us, especially here today. We still have one more series that we got to get through, but for now, we're going to toss it to a break. When we come back, we'll have our beautiful host of Marcel with an interview, so make sure you stay tuned.
And amen.
Welcome back, everyone. We are here with our post-game interview, post-series interview, and we've got Copy from Cloud9 Academy coming off some fresh wins there, keeping that dominance alive. Are you guys the real deal or what?
I definitely think we're scaling up. I think our roster is pretty insane on paper, and even with playing with these guys now for like a good amount of time, yeah, we're definitely gonna make some changes to the standings because I think we're like 7th or 8th right now. So
Yeah.
hopefully that changes soon.
Hey, you got the super week to do so. I love it. Now, I want to talk about you specifically in these games. And the Tryndamere game, what? Confidence pick? Is it all part of the plan? Do you guys just want to rip apart TLA, or what was it?
Honestly, I don't know what's with these academy teams, but when Malice showed his Karthus and Evelyn against EGA, I thought every academy team would permaban it because it's just too oppressive, and I feel like it's too hard to play against.
Yeah.
And I thought it would just get permabanned now, but they left it open, so I just picked up Tryndamere because I was like, hey, if Malice, if you need the resources and you need an 80 mid, I got you. I'll just first time.
I got you. I love it, man. Well, talking a little bit about Malice, how has it been? You know, as jungle mid duo is pretty important right now. How has it been adapting to Malice's playstyle and adapting for the team?
As a mid jungle, I think Malice has a very different way of viewing the game than the other junglers that I've played with. I think he's very efficient on the way he paths and the champions he picks. And I think he's very confident in himself to carry the game. So I think, although many people may say like he's taking all the resources or he's like a herbivore jungler, I mean, he backs it up. He literally carries the game 1v9, and I respect that. I think jungle's really OP rolled this patch, and yeah, I'll play for Malice.
You've bought a ticket, you're all in. Well, then I want to talk about that playstyle a little bit. Do you guys feel like you've centered on a playstyle that you feel confident moving through the rest of the season, at least the beginnings of the playstyle?
I think Malice said it in a previous interview, but right now, because we didn't have much time this week and last week to play with each other, we're just playing comfort champs and comfort picks. But I think we're still exploring our team identity. Obviously, last split, Darshan and King were both big carries for our roster, and we can still go and explore that. But yeah, we're still figuring things out. Who knows? Maybe I pull out more random picks and start carrying as well. Yeah.
There you go.
It's just
I like to hear that.
Playing as much scrims as possible.
Yeah.
And
well, and especially the passive leads you guys get is so strangleholding. It just feels like once you guys get ahead, it's impossible for them to come back, or it's very hard to do so. You're gonna need some climbing equipment there. So it's very interesting to see that kind of adapt. I'm very excited to see that through the rest of the Super Week. Do you feel confident in the environment that Cloud9 Academy is presenting, and especially like the meshing of the team itself in practice and stuff along those lines?
Yeah. I mean, I think Cloud9 is giving us all players the resources to do well and look good for other scouts to get picked up in for LCS next split or next year. I think all the internals that we've been doing, C9A and C9 main team, has been helping both sides. I think all the coaches are putting in a lot of work, all the staff, to make sure that everyone understands our purpose, our goals. For the main team, it's not even winning spring and summer, but it's actually winning worlds. And for Academy, I think it's the same, honestly. We have to crush regular season, crush proving grounds, and win everything, you know? So I think the bar is high, but everyone's working towards it.
Hey, and we see that work, the immediate turnaround, the fact that you guys seemingly have such a high ceiling going out. Last little question for me, this is a personal one. What's your favorite animal, Copy?
Favorite animal?
It's going on a tier list, no pressure.
Actually, I've heard a bunch of different answers from the people you've interviewed. I'm going to give you a basic answer, I'm sorry. I just like dogs the most.
Hey, you know, I'm a dog fan myself, so not too bad, not too bad. Yeah. All right, I'm an animal fan, but we'll throw you in there. We'll see how high you rank on the tier list. Copy, thank you so much for joining me. I just want to give you one quick moment to give any shout outs or anybody you want to talk about.
Shout outs to my family, my friends. I miss them in Toronto, so hopefully after winning spring and summer, I can go back to them and spend some time with them. Yeah, thanks for
Love
having
to
me.
hear it. Love to hear it, man. Thank you, Coffee. Have a wonderful day. We'll see you tomorrow.
Thank you.
All right, everyone. We're going to go ahead and send it off to a little break while we get ready for our next series, our final series. Oh, and we're gone.